Hi, welcome back. It's Nancy Morris, and we're on Wednesday, March 8th, which is day 3 of National Procrastination Week. Today, what I want to do is explore some of the tips for minimizing the fears and concerns that you may have that's underlying your procrastination, like we talked about yesterday. But before I go there, let's do a quick recap, just in case you haven't watched the other 2 videos, though if you haven't, you've missed a lot because this is going to be a quick recap. On Monday, we talked about how procrastination isn't what people think it is. And I looked more specifically at the definition of procrastination in terms of procrastination is not when you're mulling something over in your head and using the creative side of your brain to come up with new solutions, nor is it when you delay something because you're preferring to do something else. Remember from our definition yesterday, the much clearer definition yesterday, that procrastination is clearly defined as not doing something, not doing a task, or not acting or having a behavior, even though you know not doing something will have a negative outcome for you. So you're procrastinating when you don't do something, even though there's going to be some sort of negative outcome for you by not doing that activity. It's not about mulling something over, nor is it about preferring to do A over B, particularly because there's probably no negative outcome for that. There's 3 primary types of procrastinator. There's the arousal type procrastinator who erroneously thinks that they like the adrenaline, and so they leave everything to the last minute. There's the behavioral avoidant procrastinator who just allows themselves to be distracted either by phone calls or chit chats or overscheduling themselves or coming up with different ways simply to distract themselves from doing something, or pardon me, not doing something that they feel they need to be doing. And then there's the decisional procrastinator who is analysis or paralysis by analysis, meaning that they have so many different possible options that they can't decide, so they stay stuck. Yesterday, I explored in more detail this notion that procrastination is a sign of your intelligence rather than a personality flaw or a bad habit. Procrastination is really your 6th sense telling you that something's not quite right for you about the task or behavior that you feel you need to do. It's your higher level of intelligence saying to you, just stop here for a minute because there's something that's bothering me. So yesterday I went through the various different things that could be bothering you, the fears or concerns, or just that thing that doesn't feel right. And today what I want to do is recap them very quickly with different tips or ideas for how to perhaps minimize them or move beyond them. In my book, Procrastinate Now, which is available at Amazon or Chapters Kobo or other online retailers, and perhaps even in a bookshop near you, I go into much more detail about some of these things that you can do. In fact, there's about 107 tips in there. That's the rethinking time management part in the book titled Procrastinate Now, Rethinking Time Management. And there's quite a number of tips in there that you can use to move beyond some of these fears and concerns. The key thing, though, is remembering that that's what your procrastination is. It's pointing to you saying, I have a concern about this. So your real job, you don't have to memorize 107 tips. Your real job is to say, okay, what is it really that's bothering me? And do so with a level of honesty. There's 6 or 7 primary fears or concerns. So as I said, I'm going to recap those and give you some ideas of how to manage that. So 2 of them are really needing you to reframe your thinking about it. So one of the fears or concerns that you have is that the task that you're being asked to do is not relevant to you, or it's not your goal. It's not something that you feel is important to you. So that's one of the underlying distractions for you, one of the underlying concerns that's causing you to procrastinate. The other one, as I mentioned yesterday, is that perhaps you don't like or respect or trust the person that's asking you to do the task. So those 2 things, really, what you need to do is you need to reframe them. So you're telling yourself that the task isn't relevant or you don't like this person. Well, it's going to be down to you to rethink how your approach on this. How could you, for example, make this task more relevant to you? Maybe the task isn't relevant to you. Maybe it is somebody else's goal. We all know that in a working environment, it's quite often that something gets passed to you and it has nothing to do with you at all. But what does have something to do with you is your state of integrity, or maybe the reputation of professionalism that you want to have. So if you can reframe that sort of unwanted task into, Well, I consider myself to be a professional, so therefore I'm going to do this task and I'm going to do it well. It's the same as if with you not liking or trusting or respecting the person who's giving you the task. Tough luck. Maybe you want to look at why you don't like the person or trust them or respect them. Maybe there is a relational issue there that you could deal with. Maybe there's a solution. Can you come up with a solution? But if it's down to you, if it's you that doesn't like or respect or trust this person, then how can you reframe that? Again, we go back to the notion of what is your integrity? Do you want to be known as somebody who causes disruption, or do you want to be known as a professional who can move things through regardless of how you feel? Of course, if there is an issue with the person, you deal with it, or you go to HR and you deal with it, or whatever it happens to be. But if it's more about you, then that's a reframing issue. So you can reframe those things. So let's move on to a couple of things that are a little bit more tangible in things that you can do to minimize your fear or reduce your concerns. One of the other ones that I mentioned to you that causes you to procrastinate is when you're unclear on the objectives or on how to do something specifically. That's a pretty straightforward one, though, because it's pretty obvious what you need to do. You need to get clarity. So either you go to the person and you ask for more instruction, you ask for a clearer definition of the outcome that they're looking for, the objective, or even how they want it done, or you take it upon yourself to do some additional research and perhaps find different ways that you could approach this task. The key thing here is to be in action on something. If you're unsure, if you're looking at a piece of paper or a document, you're going, I'm not really too sure how to deal with it, it really is incumbent upon you to take the next step. Either go to the person and ask for clarity or do some research yourself. As a manager myself many years ago, I thought that I was being clear on certain instructions with my staff, but I came to find out that perhaps I wasn't. And I really appreciated it when my staff came to me and said, Nancy, could you just be a little clearer on this? Or I'm not 100% sure of that. Instead of feeling, I'm being in some way insulted or what's wrong with this person, I really appreciated that they were asking me for clarity. So perhaps it's as simple as that to get you moving forward. But let's move on to a couple of other things now. I would bundle them all into the same package. And that is the procrastination that occurs when you're not feeling confident about something. That either shows up as that clearly for you, you're not feeling confident, you don't think you can do the task, or perhaps you're worried that somebody's going to judge you, somebody's going to score your activity. Maybe it is an actual performance review, or maybe you just think that somebody is going to make judgment calls on you, and that's causing you to slow down. Or perhaps it is you're worried that doing the task will show that you don't know something. As I mentioned yesterday, we have egos, and particularly as we sort of become adults, we like to think we know everything, or we like to think we know a lot. At work in particular, we know in the back of our brains that we don't know everything, but we like to think we do. So if there's a task that you need to do, but perhaps you're going to be shown that you don't know what you're doing, you're going to avoid the task. Even if nobody's judging you, you're judging yourself. So these three things are primarily about building confidence. So let me give you some ideas for how to do that. There are several, and again, I go through several of them in my book as well. First, and sort of most obvious and easiest to do, is to break the task down into smaller chunks. You may have a large project that is, 54 different steps, and you've got them all in your head at the same time. And maybe you're concerned about step number 32, so you stop at step number 5. Regardless of where you're stopping, if you break each thing down into the specific task, even to the smallest possible piece, and just focus on doing that, and then the next hour, the next day, you do the next piece, or whatever it is, but staying very focused on the one thing in front of you in this moment. So break things down and do them. What you'll often find is you'll be creating momentum. So whether you have a concern about a task or a part of the task further down the line or just the whole thing, as you build momentum, you will reduce that concern and your confidence will build. So breaking things down into smaller chunks. Similarly, if you give yourself what we call small stretch goals, so a little goal, but one that's still stretching you a little bit. And then as you achieve that goal, acknowledging that. Acknowledge that you've achieved something that was a little bit of a stretch for you. Like, don't make it up. Don't fake that it's stretch, because that'll make things worse. But really push yourself, but a little bit, so that you're essentially guaranteeing success. And that way, as you achieve that and you acknowledge that achievement, again, you'll be building confidence. One of the fastest ways to build confidence is to achieve goals. So staying focused on those little stretch goals will help you to do that. Again, doing things a little bit differently every day. Sometimes we get stuck in the rut of doing things same old, same old. It doesn't give us an opportunity to challenge ourselves at all. Challenge is what helps you to build confidence. And it doesn't have to be a massive challenge. It can be a little one. But doing one every day or every other day, either by, these little small stretch goals, or just doing something differently. Anything really, just do it differently and acknowledge that you're doing it differently, and sort of pat yourself on the back and give yourself that emotional reward. That will help you to build confidence. Surrounding yourself with people who are already confident. Surrounding yourself with people who have a positive attitude and a positive outlook. That really does rub off on you. It's something that you watch. It's something that you model. We know in developmental psychology, I'm sure with your own family or with people around you, you've seen little children watching their parents or watching the older people in the room, even an older brother or sister, and modeling their behavior. Well, we do that throughout our entire lives. You may have heard or read about something called mirror neurons. That's the neurons in our own brain that are activated when we're watching somebody else do something. The same holds true with building confidence. When you surround yourself with people or add more people into your circle of friends and contacts who are confident, you will model that confidence. Sometimes it's fake it till you make it, and then other times you'll just see it and you'll start to feel it, and then you'll be it. So surrounding yourself with people who are confident will help you to build your own confidence. I mentioned earlier about the small stretch goals. Well, obviously, big goals, really big ones for you, are great for building your confidence. I'm talking about the really big ones. So I have on my wall here a photo set of me from years ago when I went skydiving. Now, anybody who knows me well knows that that's really not my thing. I'm not that big a fan of heights. And at the time, I didn't like to fly. And here's me at 20-something years old, throwing myself out of a plane with a bit of nylon over my head and a couple of strings. Like, who does that? I fell out of the plane. I had a slightly damaged parachute that meant that when I was landing, I was like tilted and slid across the ground. I was on my own. It wasn't a tandem dive. I bawled my eyes out when I sat on the ground, and it was probably one of the best things I ever did to build my confidence. As I said, I have a picture set sitting over there. I know that when I need a little boost, I just have to look at the pictures and remind myself, because I've achieved that big, massive goal, of what I'm capable of, reminding myself what I'm capable of. Now, perhaps that's not your thing either, and something a little bit closer to home might work. So one other one that I have found with my clients and through the research, that's a really wonderful way to build confidence, is to do public speaking. Yes, it is. It's to throw yourself on a video or to get up in front of a group of people and talk and share your ideas, whatever it happens to be. Learning public speaking is probably one of the best and most easily accessible means for building confidence. So either learning to speak in public through a sort of a Toastmasters, or quite often libraries and different city-run organizations have these, evening courses and stuff like that on public speaking, or joining something like an acting class or an improv class. Improv in particular, top of the list for sure in helping somebody build confidence, because not only do you have to be comfortable with being on stage in front of other people, it also helps you to think on your feet, which really underlies quite a lot of confidence. So a big goal that really stretches you a lot is a great way to build confidence. And when you do that, please make sure that you also have those people around you who will support and encourage you as you move towards that big goal. That network of sort of like-minded people, that camaraderie will really support you as you're working to build your confidence. So any of those underlying fears or concerns related to confidence, so actual confidence, knowing that you're not feeling confident, worried that you're going to be judged, or worried that even to yourself you're going to perhaps look like you don't know what you're doing, the best way to deal with that is build confidence. Seriously, best way. And of course, building confidence is going to impact positively so many different aspects of your life. I have found in the research and also with the work with my own clients and in writing my book that building confidence is a real boost, not only across the board, but as it relates to procrastination. I am a very confident person, but I still procrastinate, knowing and feeling confident that I can manage anything that's coming up in terms of my fears and concerns. It may cause me a delay or a hiccup in my, productivity and moving things forward, my procrastination, my fear or concern. But I know in my heart of hearts that whatever my fear or concern might be, I can manage it, I can deal with it, and I'll be moving forward. Maybe not this hour, but very soon. So building confidence, I would suggest to you, is a fantastic way of really managing the procrastination and other areas of your life. Tomorrow, in tomorrow's video, I'm going to share with you what I consider to be the number one tip for building confidence and the number one tip for creating that self-awareness that I was talking about yesterday. So we'll get to that video tomorrow because I want to take the appropriate amount of time to explain that and to share it with you, because it'll be all you need to know in tomorrow's video. One other key thing about moving forward with your fears and concerns, whether it's about reframing something or breaking it down into smaller tasks or, building the confidence or whatever, is to have somebody with you that can hold you accountable, but who also recognizes it when you're moving forward, who can also give you encouragement. One of the things I'm known for and have been all of my career, whether it was before when I worked in law or when I managed other people or now when I run my own business, is that I'm kick-ass with compassion. It is possible to hold somebody accountable and to give them a nudge and hold their hand at the same time. So I really want for you to find somebody like that in your own life. Either hire someone like myself or just have somebody with you who's really good at that sort of stuff. And there's lots of people who are really good at that sort of stuff. So somebody who can be kick-ass with compassion. Get somebody like that in your life. And always, 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 as you're moving things forward, notice and acknowledge yourself and reward yourself in whatever way that you possibly can. One of the other things that I mentioned yesterday that would be slowing you down and create that pause that turns up as procrastination, so in other words, that underlying problem, is that the task or activity you're being asked to do causes you some sort of fear that you're going to be emotionally or spiritually or physically harmed. So obviously, we're going to be concerned if we're going to be physically harmed. But if you're going to be emotionally or spiritually harmed, that too will cause you to pause. If that is a fear, if you're fearful that you're going to be harmed, my question would be, what are you doing there? Why have you got this task sitting in front of you? That sort of harm, you don't want to have in your life anyway. So remove it. One way or another. Yes, can you reframe it? Of course you can. But if there is a real fear of being physically, emotionally, or spiritually harmed, get out. That's sort of my bottom line on that one. Same holds true with this core values business. If you remember yesterday, I said that a very important reason why you might be procrastinating is because the task that you're being asked to do goes against who you think you are as a person or one of your core values. You can still move something ahead, even if it's going against your core value. But that's risky. It's emotionally risky. You can create negative emotions, feelings of guilt or regret, etc., etc. So if you choose to do something that goes against who you are as a person, at least do so knowingly. I don't recommend it. I really don't. I don't recommend it at all. If you're in a sort of job or a type of work that goes against who you feel you are as a person, I would strongly recommend that you get out of it. But if you can't, at least move forward knowingly. And if you can't move forward knowingly, own that, be honest with yourself and with other people, and get out. That's the bottom line. That is what I would normally suggest to people. Are there variations of that? Sure. There's circumstances that might make that difficult. I would still encourage you to leave. But that decision is ultimately yours. At least you know that the reason why you're pausing is your concern with your core values. So that's really a quick summary, 20-minute long quick summary of the underlying reasons why you might be procrastinating, remembering that procrastination is your sixth sense telling you, it's your higher level of intelligence telling you that something with this situation isn't right for you. So your job then is to figure out what that is. It's going to be one or all of the things that I just mentioned, and then take appropriate steps or build appropriate systems to minimize or reduce those concerns. And that's what we've been exploring in today's video. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, tomorrow I'm going to share with you my #1 tip. I recommend this to everybody I speak to who's procrastinating, who wants to build confidence, who wants to know themselves better so that they can make the choices and decisions that will help them to create the success that they want in their life. So in tomorrow's video, I'm going to explain that to you. And believe me, it's super simple. It's like one sentence. And then I'll explain to you why it works. But it works a charm for hundreds of people. I've been using this tactic for years with my clients and workshop participants and my audience on radio and television and all sorts of other stuff. So tomorrow's video, on Thursday, we'll be going through that. And then on Friday, I'm going to do a quick wrap up. I'm going to tell you how you can get a free copy of my book mailed to you, not the downloadable one that you can get from my website, but a free copy of my book mailed to you. And we'll just wrap everything up on Friday, the end of National Procrastination Week of 2017. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Well, I'm not going to see you, but I'm looking forward to sharing this video, tomorrow's video with you then. So have a great day. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below or send me a message at NancyMorris.com. Happy to answer them. I did get some yesterday, and it was great to see those emails coming in. So feel free to send me an email. Anyway, take care.